welcome to another episode of Earthworks Hub. I'm your host, Ivan Orlovic, and today I have Adrian from Godings. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ivan. Thanks. Great to be here.
That's it, man. No worries. I appreciate you coming on, and thank you very much to start with for becoming a sponsor as well.
No problem at all. Happy to help out. Yep, and I think it's a good platform for us moving forward.
Oh, good, man. Thank you. All right, so for the people that don't know about Godings, can you just tell us a little bit of history on Godings, like how it started and all that sort of stuff?
Yep. So Godings is a single franchise Kubota dealer. Originally started by Ian Goding and his family. Last year we celebrated our 50 years in business. Have been through a couple of transition and ownership changes, but basically 50 years predominantly as a Kubota dealer selling Kubota grounds care, construction, and agricultural machinery.
Okay, so you don't just sell excavators and skid steers, yeah?
No, that's right. We sell a range of gear, predominantly the whole Kubota range. So things like generators, RTV vehicles, which are we're seeing in the construction sector a little bit now, with moving around sites and stuff. Agricultural tractors, grounds care equipment, golf, as well as excavators, skid steer loaders, water pumps, all that sort of stuff. So a fair diverse range.
Yeah. No, it's true. I see when I walk around, I see a whole bunch of things, like heaps of mowers and tractors and that as well. Yeah,
that's correct. Yep.
So how did you come across opening up a store on your own? Like, what's the history in that?
Yeah, so I was employed by Godings and I started here in 2005. At the time, we had 3 branches: Rockbank, where we are today, Whittlesea, and Mansfield. So I started here as a spare parts interpreter, and then just slowly moved into a service role, becoming a branch manager in 2010 when the business was sold to Norwood, which was a distributor in New Zealand of Kubota equipment. And in 2015, myself and my wife Amanda were presented with the opportunity to buy the business. And at the stage, we just sort of thought we'd concentrate on one branch, so the Whittlesea location was closed down. And then since then, we've moved into opening another location where we acquired another dealership in October 2020 in Geelong. So that's the history of how we become owners, and that was about 9 years ago. So when we started, so yeah, no, it's going well.
Yeah, no, that's good, man. That's good. And for people that don't know, I've also purchased from yourself, and that, so we do have a bit of a long-standing history.
We do, yes,
yeah,
yep.
That's it. So I think I'm on. I don't even know how many I've had now. I've had a few 5-tonners, and a skid steer, and a whole bunch of 1.7.
Yep, that's correct. Yeah,
actually,
I remember appraising your gear when we first started. So you were probably one of our first customers that come on when we took the construction gear on in 2014. So long-standing relationship, and it was good.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. No, they are. And I can vouch for it. I do. I mean, if I've bought so many, there's obviously a reason. So I can vouch that the machines are pretty good. So what does your branches, what sort of things do you offer apart from sales? Do you do servicing and other things?
Yeah, I think these days you need to be a pretty complete dealership. And quite stringent standards from Kubota and other manufacturers in relation to make sure that their customers are looked after. So we offer a fully maintained workshop with factory trained staff in both locations. We've got about 7 utes on the road, servicing customers' machines on site. We also do service agreements with people where they build into their package 3 or 4 years of agreed price servicing over a range of time, so they know that their end costs are finalised at the time of sale. So we also do that as well, and a pretty comprehensive spare parts business these days. Parts and service, particularly in this environment where the sales have slowed down a little bit, are really important. So we try and have a pretty comprehensive parts inventory, and able to service our customers fairly quickly.
Yeah. And I have seen, as I walk around, some attachments and that. So you sell attachments as well?
Yeah, so we sell a wide range of short line implements, we call them. So slashers, mulchers. We're Digga and auger torque agents. So we sell a lot of Digga, post hole diggers, augers, smudge bars, 4-in-1 buckets on our skid steers. We also sell a fair range of Digga agricultural implements on our tractors. So we've got that. We're Sylvan dealers as well. So we sell spray gear, fertilizer gear. So it is quite a complex, broad range of equipment.
Yeah.
But it means that we can, not only can we sell the tractor, we can sell the implements or the accessories required to make the tractor get the most functionality out of the tractor, which you can't do unless you've got those other implement lines to tack on.
Yeah, true. And also from experience, you do have vandal covers and other things if people want.
Yeah,
as
for
well.
sure. Construction-wise, definitely we do vandal covers. We do a lot of reverse cameras, UHF radios. The market's moving more to that tier 1 specification now. So we've got guys fitting, lockable battery isolators, emergency stops, high-vis tape, full registration, which is becoming more and more popular on construction equipment especially. Unloading and loading on roads can get a little bit precarious depending on the police officer involved. So we are doing a lot of that sort of stuff as well. GPS is starting to get into our range. We're a little bit small in our range that it requires it a lot, but we are starting to get it into a little bit. And we've used auto steer and all that in our bigger equipment and tractors for years, so it's not unknown to us, but it is starting to come into the small stuff. Yeah.
Oh, that's it. So, and then on top of that, what about like finance and insurance and stuff like that? Do you guys help with that?
Yeah, definitely. So Kubota have got their own finance arm, which is great because there's no disadvantage to the end user. So there's no penalty fees. There's no the dealer gets no commission. So we're not interested in selling finance. We want to sell gear. But what that means is the factory is sort of very heavily involved in making the finance rates attractive to sell equipment. Okay, so they underwrite and absorb the interest costs in a lot of stuff. So quite often you'll see us running 0% on a certain range of gear. Now, everyone knows you can't get that, but because it's backed by the factory, it means that it becomes it's quite competitive in the market. In fact, I struggle to get a bank or a finance broker beat the Kubota rates generally. And we're running at about 85 to 86% penetration rate of finance in our construction equipment.
Okay.
So for a guy that's starting out and go and get into 1.7 and has to find $4,500 deposit and pay you maybe $1,000 interest over 3 or 4 years, that's a very, very viable proposition for someone just starting out compared to trying to shell out 45 or 50 grand for a new machine.
Yeah.
So we find, particularly in construction equipment, the Kubota finance stuff is extremely competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Like I said before, I've gone through the process, so I can definitely vouch for that too. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about some of the products in particular.
Yep.
So I know you only have, when I talk about construction here, because that's the main thing I know about.
Yeah, for sure.
Is so when I talk about construction gear, I know you only go up to like an 8-ton machine.
That's correct. Yep.
Why do Kubota choose not to go any bigger?
Yeah, it's probably a question that we ask ourselves a little bit. So I think, in short, the answer is Kubota are very strong in making sure that they heavily focus and put a lot of R&D on new gear and on models being accepted into the market. So even on tractors, we sort of concentrate on that smaller, compact market because that's what we're good at. Our market share is really good, and that's where we're extremely competitive. So I think based on some of that sort of stuff, they sort of have only ever been between 1 to 8 ton. We sort of have asked regularly. There is rumour around that potentially they are aligning with some bigger stuff, but really, I think that's their market. That's what we sell a lot of. Class 1 particularly, like 1.7, that market we're extremely strong, like 40, 50% market share. So I think it's just focused that they limit their models a little bit, but what they do well. But other than that, mate, you'd have to talk to Kubota as to why.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, if they make such a good machine, and maybe that's the case. Yeah, specialize in what you have. Don't go too broad, So maybe that's why it's so good, Or maybe that's the whole point of it.
I think so. Yeah. I think we're unique in the sense that we're probably one of the only manufacturers, or predominantly, that from the front of the machine to the rear is all Kubota. We run our own engines, so therefore everything's starts at the engine plant. Probably one of the largest stationary engine manufacturers in the world, but even in all our gear, we run our own engines, so it means that they can sort of build a machine around the engine, and everything is Kubota. So I think that's a good thing, particularly for the guys and for the customers, because they're only coming to us. They're not like, that's an engine problem, go see Yanmar, or that's an engine problem, go see, Doosan.
Yeah,
we're running us.
One house, yeah. I just want to say a quick shout out to all my sponsors, one of them being Godings, so thank you very much for that.
No problems.
Network Finance, the Bole Group, Nexgen Landscapes and Earthworks, Digga, Diggerlid, Spartan Machinery, Melbourne Tractors, Earthmoving Warehouse. That's it. So thank you very much, guys. Speaking of the machines, where are they actually manufactured?
Yeah, so the excavation range is manufactured in Japan. So all the machines bar a couple. So our U series machines, so zero swing or minimal tail swing, are all manufactured in Japan. Our KX 018 and U27, which is one zero swing machine, along with our wheel loaders, come out of Germany. So they're a different manufacturing plant. And our construction equipment SVLs, which compact track loaders, the 65's made in America, and the 75 still comes out of Japan. Yeah, so a combination of probably 75% of it is out of Japan, but we do get a little bit of stuff out of the States and a little bit of stuff out of Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. And then before I ask you anything else, I forgot to actually ask a bit earlier. So you do the sales and servicing. Do you actually dry hire machines?
Yeah, no, not at this stage. And the reason for that is quite a lot of our customers are hire companies.
Yeah.
So I just feel it's the wrong thing at the moment to be able to sell to a hire company to hire out in a market and then go in competition to hire out at a competitive advantage, because obviously we would have the machines at a lower price, and we could fix them at a lower price. So I don't think it's ethically the right thing to do, and for that reason I don't do it at the moment. Yeah, I'd rather support our customers who are hire companies that buy off us regularly, and for that reason we don't do it. Yeah.
All right. No, that's cool.
Yep.
And with your customers, so what are your main customers? Do you find that you deal a lot more with construction or with agricultural?
We're still very, very about 50%, 50-50. It's probably moving a little bit towards construction based on the last few years of what's been happening. But we're still very strong in the grounds care business, mowing, tractors, golf. But yeah, probably construction is probably just marginally in front as a product mix for us.
Yeah.
And particularly in the workshop, I think it is because we're generally dealing with guys that are plumbers, concreters, electricians who, they just want to put pipes in the ground. They want to lay concrete. They want to do that sort of stuff. So they're not really that mechanically minded. They'd rather drop it off and get it serviced.
Yeah.
Where some of the earth moving guys are quite capable and do their own servicing and stuff. But our market is predominantly guys using it as an end product for a certain thing in construction. So yeah, so I'd say construction is in front, but it's still a very strong agricultural business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And what would be the most popular machine, would you say?
Yeah, by far the U17 and the U55. Yeah. So we sell a lot of them. U17 is everyone would have seen them. They're in every store, basically every hire store in Australia would have some.
Yeah.
So yeah, the 1.7 is very strong for us, and along with U55. So U55-4 has been around now for a while, and we're eagerly awaiting the new models which are coming. Albeit I'm concerned about some of the exhaust emissions and the stuff that will happen with that in relation to price.
Yeah.
But definitely U55 and U17 would be by far the two most common machines that we sell and service for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you do. You see a lot around. Yeah.
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 And then what about, so, I mean, I'm seeing a lot more Chinese machines that are coming in. What do you think the impact will be on yourselves?
Oh, it will definitely have an impact for sure. And I think as their technology gets better and their quality assurance improves, it will definitely have an impact. I still think though there's an element of the market that still value resale.
Yeah.
So I think our resale is fairly good. We've still got guys getting $55,000-$60,000 for U55s that are 2016 with 3,800 hours.
Yeah.
We sold one last week. I don't think that will hold up as much in the Chinese market. And I think the fact is why they're new and why they come in, that's all great. It's just making sure that the dealership network is strong enough for the next 4 or 5 years to ensure that you can get parts down the track.
Yes.
That can be one area where in the tractor market, when they entered the market maybe a few years ago, they fell over at that. So 2 years later, you needed a clutch where you couldn't get one. So once that gets into the construction space, that will spread through the industry very quickly. But in saying that, on all accounts in the machines that we've seen, their quality is getting better and improving. I think it's about how strong the dealer network is to back it up. That is going to be really important, particularly for this audience, because these guys need them going.
Yeah,
You can't have them broken down in the driveway.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Yeah, well, if your machine's not moving, you're not making money.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that's my thing always. I always say
100%.
that.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, the U17s and that. Now we covered a little bit about attachments and machines. Warranty wise, what sort of warranty do you guys offer?
Yeah. So on all construction machinery through Kubota, we get 3 years, 3,000 hours. Okay. So that's, or whatever happens first. So depending on usage.
Yeah.
Attachments wise, it's generally the manufacturers. So Digga, I think, are 12 months. Toku, we sell Toku hammers. They're 2 years on theirs as well. So predominantly on the machines, it's 3 years, 3,000 hours. But as there is some stipulations in that, we should get them serviced at 50 hours and at 500 hours where we oil sample.
Yeah.
So that the oil sample is logged with the factory. Manufacturing defect is the technical term for warranty, and that would generally appear very early.
Yeah.
So it's important to get that done where we can have that oil sample logged, so all the impurities of the manufacturing process are removed through the filter the first time. But we've also got it's logged with a condition report that at 50 hours there was nothing evident.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
yeah,
You've got
but-
some history on it.
Yeah. And that's an external party. It gets sent to a external party in Sydney that log that. They send us back a report. And then it's just there. If you do a hydraulic pump at 2,500 hours, did you have it all sampled? Here's the report. Bang.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yep.
All right. And then so you mentioned you're in Rockbank and Geelong.
Yep.
But if someone in another state wanted to purchase from you, like, can you service anyone, or have any limitations?
Yeah, we can. There's no limitations. It just creates a little bit of uncertainty for the customer if something goes wrong.
Yeah.
That can be the one thing that can be an issue. Look, at the end of the day, the customer's got the right to buy wherever they like.
Yeah.
And it's quite common for us to send used machinery. So last week I sent a used U25 to Bundaberg.
Oh yeah.
So it's quite common for us to send used machinery around because the volume of the market, particularly in Victoria and New South Wales and Queensland, for that matter, is larger.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more trades coming through. And a lot more gear getting sent around. But as far as new goes, we generally don't, purely because the fact is if you ring me tomorrow and the hydraulic hitch is playing up, I can't get there.
Yeah.
I can't get there. And I think the fact that all dealers are buying at the same, there would be very, very close alignment with the pricing just organically because at the end of the day, there's one price list we all work off at Kubota. So the only change is what buckets and what, accessories you're going to fit, hitches, that sort of stuff, where you might get a little bit of discrepancy. But, majority of our stuff is done in our area with our used equipment going wherever. Yep.
All right, cool, yeah. All right. How are you going nowadays? I mean, it's a little bit quiet from what I see and what I hear. So during my live sessions, a lot of guys are saying it's very quiet in Melbourne, particularly in Melbourne. How is that affecting your business? Or do you even feel anything?
Yeah, no, we're definitely feeling it.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be pretty evident when you have a few photos of the yard and see how much stock's out there, particularly in U55.
Yeah.
No, we're definitely feeling it. So our gear is really heavily geared towards residential construction.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's concreters doing slabs, it's electricians, it's plumbing, it's landscaping, it's all that sort of stuff. So we're not we use a little bit of our gear, but we're not on those tier one infrastructure projects. They're not digging the Westgate Tunnel with Kubotas. They're not doing that sort of stuff. So the fact that the residential housing market has slowed down has been a big impact on us. So we're probably down about 21 to 22% in machine sales.
Oh, yeah.
So that's 2024 versus 23. So yeah, no, it is significant. In saying that though, we have had an inflated market the last few years with the investment allowance and with the fact that guys took opportunities to replace their gear while there were some tax incentives around that.
Yeah.
So it's probably come back to more of a normal market, but we're actually seeing it as a 20% down market because the 2 years before that was pretty solid.
Yeah.
But now it definitely is down for sure. Yeah.
It's a good way to look at it though. What you're saying, yeah, like it's just coming back to a norm.
Yeah,
you
correct.
know, So yeah.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
All right. And what about the outlook though? What do you foresee?
Oh, mate, if you can work that out, let me know.
Yeah.
What do I see? I think there has to come a time, I believe, the government can't afford the construction market to fall over.
Yeah.
The construction industry, to fall over. They just can't. So I think there will come a time potentially, particularly in Melbourne with the immigration that's happening, that we'll need to be able to build more housing, whether that's high density housing as either townhouses or units or houses. It's going to need to happen.
Yeah.
I think we've got a little bit of, I'm going to call it pain to go until that sort of fiscal area changes where interest rates become a bit more competitive, some more land gets opened up and stuff like that. It will change. It will change. And but I don't know when. I'm thinking somewhere, all outlooks that I look at is probably March, April. They expect it to improve, but who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows, mate? Really,
I think interest rates will play a big part in that. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100% they will.
Yeah.
The investor market at the moment, which is a lot of these new housing estates around us, the investor market at the moment is probably a little bit unsure with what's happening with residential tenancy acts.
Yeah.
And all that sort of stuff, and whether they want to be in that market anymore.
Yeah.
So I think there's a little bit that will play out there. But as I said, the construction industry, it would be the largest employer I'll be aware of.
Yeah.
So it can't afford it to fall over. There's too many people, there's too many houses, too many families that would be impacted. They'd have to. So whether that's a stimulus like a first homeowners grant, no stamp duty, or something like that again, it will happen. But yeah, when, I don't know, mate.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it the same in the agricultural? Can you see anything happening there as well with any effect?
Agriculture is a little bit different in a sense that our market, we've got two sides of our business. So we've got the commercial grounds care business, which is councils, open space, golf. That's still fairly consistent because at the end of the day, mate, councils need to mow grass, yeah? They need the parks mowed. They need the side of the freeways mowed. That's still fairly consistent. The market that is impacted a little bit is probably the lifestyle market, where people are going away and buying a hobby farm in Mount Macedon or Gisborne or Woodend or Riddle or somewhere around that, where we're really strong, Trentham, Dalesford, in those sort of areas. And the interest rates may be putting them back a little bit.
Yeah.
But once again, that was heavily inflated on the back of COVID because there was people exiting these capital cities. So we did sell a lot of gear into those locations.
Yeah.
When now it's come back to probably a little bit more of a normal. But that was sort of a discretionary spend. So if you've got a mower that's still cutting your 3 acre property, but it's taking you three hours, and then you can buy a new mower, it's 20 grand or mower an hour. You do that if you've got that discretionary capital, and that's not quite around at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just going back to some of the products.
Yep.
What can you tell us about the future of your products? Is it likely to be any changes or anything new coming? Or
Yeah, for sure. So the first thing is, and a lot of the guys might have already seen this, but the new Kubota SVL 75-3.
Yep.
So that was released to us last year, and we've probably delivered half a dozen units this year in the market so far. So the guys that are familiar with 75-2s or 75s back in sort of 2015, this new machine is considerably different. So some of the things that people would have seen before that have changed are things like we now have a reversing fan as standard. We now have a radiator that sits horizontal on top of the engine cowling instead of sitting vertical for less dust ingression. We have a fully pressurized cab where the floor is actually sealed in the cabin now instead of undoing the cab and having a separate floor.
Yep.
We have an integrated reverse camera in the dash panel. Anti-theft keyless start by PIN code. Integrated AFM Bluetooth radio. So the stuff that we used to fit as accessories is all on the machine as standard. And the beauty of that is, first of all, it's all backed by the factory. But secondly, it's ergonomically so much better for the operator because everything's right in front of where you need to be. So we can adjust track sensitivity. We can adjust loader sensitivity. We can do all that. The operator can do all that at the dash. So a lot of that sort of stuff is probably bringing that in line with some of the newer products. So that's coming to the market, and we can't get enough of them at the moment. So there's a bit of a significant weight on those. The other thing that's coming to the market in the last couple of years, we've got now a U10. So the old K008 limited access machine's been replaced with a new model. So it's gone away from the backhoe style operator pattern to conventional excavator, where the joysticks are back under you, like a normal machine.
Cool. Yeah.
So that's now in the market. And probably the biggest one that we're waiting on is the U55-5. So not 100% exactly sure on the spec yet, but we expect to see something late this year. But it will be along the lines of the 75 to bring it up into the current specification of what's in the industry. And I'll be honest here, one of the things we hear a bit is guys saying, I'm on my third U55 and it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The model hasn't changed. So we need to get a bit more modern. And that feedback we've all given the factory. So hopefully that when that comes in with the new, new panels and a bit of different other stuff, bit different shape. I've seen a quick look at it. It looks good. Expecting to see that around November, December, for us to have a look at. But they're probably the three major things for this audience in the construction market. And probably three of our more popular machines as well. So yeah, definitely 75-3. If you get a chance to have a look at it, it's a great machine. Like it will, it's a big step up for us. And the 75-2 sold really well as well. So it's got the durability of that, but just so much more modern and comfortable. And the 55-5, well, that's a proven machine. So I think it'll be good.
Yeah, no, it'll be good. I'd like to do an actual review on one of those if we get a chance.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Really good, yeah.
Yep.
All right, cool. So if you guys want me to do that, hit me up, but I'll definitely want to do one anyway. Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
All right, cool. And then what about, is there anything that you wanted to add that I haven't covered?
No, not really. I think that was one thing I wanted to get out there. Just that, if you do get an opportunity or you're in the market for a compact track loader, give us a call, send us an email, and we can give you we can give you a look at some when they come in, because it is a pretty impressive machine.
Yeah.
Barring that, no, not really. We're here for anyone that wants to sort of talk about machines, service machines, parts. If we're not doing something right, please feel free to reach out to me. Myself and Amanda own the business, and we're very very hands on.
Yeah.
So we want to know if things aren't going right, or you're disappointed in something, or if a machine technically breaking down, we can get some support through Kubota and stuff as well. So yeah, just keep open lines of communication. Feel free to come in, have a coffee. Anyone that comes in, and we've mentioned this, that comes in on the Earthwork and mentions Ivan or the Earthworks hub will receive some merchandise. I think the guys have got some beanies and that at the moment for them all.
Cool, there you go.
Appreciate the opportunity, mate, to give our business a little plug, and that's about it, really.
Yeah, no, very good, man. Well said. And I have to say, I do appreciate when I do come in here. It does feel like a little family environment.
Yeah.
Like you still get, everyone coming in and saying hello, talking to you. Everybody knows you're not just a number when you walk in.
Yeah.
So and I think that's, like you say, that's just the way you guys are. Just inviting.
At the end of the day, mate, you're nothing without your customers or your staff. So you got to treat both them with the respect. But we're a small business, 28 people, and I love nothing more than seeing a guy drive out with a new machine. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, for anyone that wants to get in touch with you guys, what's the best way, or what options do they have?
Yeah, so we're pretty active on both social media platforms in the sense of, we're on the Earthworks hub. We're on Instagram. We also got a Godings Facebook page. We've got our own website, so www.godings.com.au, or flick us an email, rockbank@Godings or geelong@Godings.com.au. Call in, say hello, give us a ring. Yeah.
Cool. Well done. All right. No, that's it. Well, that's all I've got to ask. I really appreciate you coming on the show as well. And also, like I said, for being a sponsor. So I appreciate that. And if anyone needs any Kubota equipment, agricultural, construction, groundskeeping, whatever, you know who to contact. Yeah. Godings are the guys, Rockbank and Geelong in Melbourne, or Victoria, I should say. Thank you very much for listening, guys. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.